All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. This is a little bit of an interesting setup because we are doing this as both a webinar and for folks here in the room. Just want to let everybody know that if suddenly we start looking off into the distance, that's probably us talking to someone in the room. Again, for the most part, I will be addressing the screen, but we'd love questions from anybody. We're going to be taking questions via chat on the webinar. That'll allow us to keep the chatter down a little bit and keep this moving because we want to keep it to about an hour today. For those of you who are on site today at Corner Post Meets, you will have the opportunity to tour their two new Airbnb units, and we'll take a look at them and talk about the great things that they've done and things that you can also do in your units. For those of you online, unfortunately, I can't take you on that tour with me, but I am going to show you a quick photo from their website. Meet for people who give a damn. So we are on site of their property. Lee has been gracious enough to host us here. She's part of our Colorado Springs meetup group, and they have a gorgeous property here. So if you ever need a little getaway in Colorado Springs, this is a great place. Look for them on Airbnb. Check out their website. They have amazing meats. Funny story, I actually did a program with them a while back when I had a prepared meals company, really high quality meats. So if you're for the all organic, pasture raised deliciousness, this is the place to look. All right, so we will move right into our topic today. Today, we're talking about furnishing your Airbnb. So what we want to do this class, walk you through furnishing your Airbnb, answer any questions you have, and have a little fun. If you have a funny story, we're all ears. We like to enjoy the crazy experiences that we've had with Airbnb. We were talking with Lee earlier, and she was talking to us about the little things that come up. You think you have everything lined up, and then something pops up. So don't be afraid to realize that this is an ongoing process. It's not something that you do once. You furnish your property, and then you're done. You constantly have to be getting better, addressing issues that people bring up. Why listen to me? Why listen to me and Eric? My partner Eric is sitting here. He's going to present half of this program today, and I will present the other half. I have 5 properties on Airbnb, 7 listings between them because we have a triplex and a duplex. So we rent the whole property, and then we also rent the individual units. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. I have about 250 reviews. About 94% of them are 5-star reviews. I've been a super host the entire time I've been on Airbnb. Before I did this, I ran a bed and breakfast, which was rated in the top 5 small hotels in the United States. I have a background in hospitality and have been doing this almost my whole life. So some of this information we have gathered recently. Some of this information we've gathered over 15 or 20 years that I've been involved in the hospitality industry. Eric has a background in commercial real estate. He worked for a national vacation rental website, talked to a lot of property managers and owners, trying to help them out to get them on board and get them doing the things that they needed to do. We paired up on a project up in Steamboat Springs last year and decided that we would try and make this a little easier for the next folks that are coming along. It was definitely a struggle for me, the first property I did, and we're hoping that this makes it a little easier for you. So who are we? Our company is called Master Vacation Rentals. This is a company that we've started within the last 6 months. I apologize. We're trying to learn web development and about 100 other things at the same time. You'll see our funny videos on here. I try and put a little something stupid in every video. So watch all of them. They're all interesting and exciting. We basically want to be here to help you out with whatever you might need for your Airbnb. Our business model right now is to offer as much free training as we can. And there's a number of companies that offer small kickback when you sign up or buy something through the link that we provide to you. As of now, I think we made about $51 in the past 6 months. So this is not a big money-making venture for us, but it is something that we're passionate about and that we enjoy. So if you do need to buy something and we show you a good product, we would love it if you would click on the link and support us. That's all. That's the big sales pitch for the evening. So that's about it. What we're going to cover tonight, our first topic is design choices. Then we're going to go into minor renovations that will make a big impact, furnishing your property room by room, linens, towels, and soaps, and then our essentials checklist. So this is basically going to walk you through, I have a building, I want to put everything in the building, what do I need to do? So let's get started. Design choices. I'm going to switch with Eric real quick here. All right, so in starting off with your property, really considering what the vibe of your place is. Is it a log cabin in the mountains? Is it a place on the beach? Is it something a little more modern in an urban area? You really want to have a cohesive look to your property so that when someone comes in, it doesn't look like you got a bunch of stuff from Goodwill or left over from your college days. Sometimes the kitschy vibe can be, can be a fit depending on your property, but just something to consider when you're looking at furnishing your property is how you want the overall feel of the place to be. Something to consider as well is who is your clientele. Are you targeting families who are going to be, coming for outdoor activities? Is it more couples or business travelers? And understanding who those clients are going to be and what amenities and furnishings they might need. If you're not targeting families, maybe you don't need to have a playpen or a pack and play, but something to consider if you're looking in a more family-friendly area where travelers are going to be coming. Just 1 second while we double check technicality. All right, just had to make sure we're recording this so we can put it up online for you to review later. So another thing to consider is, sort of temperature and climate. If you're up in the mountains, AC is not going to be something that people are expecting, but having ceiling fans can make a big difference, especially in the summer, especially if you're on a top floor unit like one of ours is on the 3rd floor. Really nice to have a little air movement. That's something as well as you're thinking about furnishing your property and, where the sun's going to be. Having black furniture in a south-facing room with a big window could get a little hot in the summertime. So just things to think about as you're looking at furnishing, how people are going to be using your property. Something that's a great value add for travelers is going to be outdoor space. So whether that's patio furniture, a nice barbecue grill, or if you have a pool and hot tub area, making sure that those are inviting, you have those furnished and ready for guests to use. So one thing we want to take a look at here is considering what a difference it can make going really, higher end with your furnishings and having a really thought out, put together space versus a space that still has some pieces that could stand to be improved. So I'm going to show you here 2 different listings. So the first one here, both of these, so for comparison's sake, both of these are in the same building in Steamboat Springs. They are in the same, they're 1 floor apart. Nope, same floor.
Same floor, excuse me.
1 condo apart.
1 condo apart, that's what I was looking for. So looking through at the first listing here, decently set up. It's got all the basics that you'd want if you're going to stay. doesn't necessarily have any, a huge amount of extras. And if you're looking at it as a traveler, comparing that to this property, this one's got, a little bit better curb appeal, a little higher end finishes and furnishings. And looking at your initial investment, you might say, well, I'd rather save a few bucks and go on the cheaper side of things. There's some sort of impactful stats here are that the first unit we showed you, their occupancy for May and June of this year was just under 48%, while the second unit that I'm showing you now was just under 70%. So 21% difference in occupancy rate for the last 2 months. Total revenue for the first unit, about $2,600. And total revenue for the second unit, almost $4,500. So we're talking about a difference of over $1,800 in revenue over 2 months based on the way that it's furnished and put together. So you might think, well, $5 or $10 a night on the average nightly rate, it's not a big deal. I'm fine going a little lower priced. That stuff really adds up, especially over, of course, a couple months, and adding it up over the course of the year, that's going to be big dollars that you could have made if you make a little bit higher initial investment.
And those properties are two properties that we manage for folks. So neither of these are our actual properties, but we have two folks that have trusted us to co-host for them in the area. It's really interesting to see these numbers side by side. And we've actually just discussed with the owner of the first property that he would like to upgrade his furnishings after seeing the comparison and realizing he can make almost double his money. The total investment that we decided he needed to make to upgrade his property was only about $1,600. A new couch, a new bed and mattress, a couple small items like tables and things like that. So really wasn't a huge change that he had to go through, but it's going to make a huge impact in his numbers as far as what he's going to receive. And it's also something to think about from a guest perspective. From a management perspective, how many questions and things do you think I have to answer about the first property versus the second property? That second property is set up so well that I don't have to tell them, oh, it's an old TV, press this button, then these 4 buttons, and then click this and go there, and then you'll access your TV. No, it's a seamless situation. They press one power button, the cable turns on. So a lot of those things are things to think about, because we're not only trying to make it easy on ourselves, we're not only trying to make more money, what we're trying to do is give the guests a great experience. And if they're constantly having to ask us, how does this work? How do I use this? Where is this? It makes their stay less enjoyable. So you'll see that also in the ratings of these properties. That first property is still rated 4.5 stars, so it's not bad. The second property is like 4.9. Very rarely do I have any complaints. So just something to think about there. The next section we're going to talk about is minor renovations. This is something that scares a lot of people off when you may have a basement, for example, that may need some minor renovations done. Maybe you want to add a ceiling fan, you want to add blinds to the windows, you want to even put in a new bathroom or a new kitchen. Those things don't have to be really hard. Some small items can go a long way. So the things I'm going to talk about today are appliances. So appliances is one that's kind of interesting, because when you think of your primary residence, what do you think of from your refrigerator? You probably want something big. You want plenty of space. You want it to be attractive looking. No?
Not necessary for an Airbnb.
Exactly, not necessary for an Airbnb. So my go-to refrigerator is a 30-inch refrigerator. I would venture to guess that almost everyone here has a 36-inch refrigerator in their house. One thing to think about with this is a 30-inch refrigerator in a stainless steel will run you about $650. A 36-inch probably going to run you well over $1,000. We really like stainless steel finishes. The reason is they look modern. They go with every color on the palette, and they're easy to clean up. I highly recommend going with the finger-resistant stainless steel. Some people are now moving to the black stainless steel as well. That's a preference thing. If you like that, it is definitely more expensive. So it's up to you what you think looks good. I would highly recommend staying away from white appliances. White appliances yellow over time, and there's no way for them ever to look good again. So stainless steel, in my opinion, is the way to go. I think black appliances are second best, in my opinion. Paint. So paint can go a really long way in a room. I'm going to show you, this is actually my house that I just moved into 3 days ago. This was the listing photo of us purchasing this house. You can see that they had windows hanging along the doorway. Those are all sliding glass doors. So they totally closed off the space by putting plants there. Plants are beautiful, but they totally blocked the indoor space from the outdoor space. What we did was, you can see all of the dark wood, the dark blinds. It kind of makes the room seem darker than it really is. Obviously, this is a sunroom. It shouldn't feel dark at all. So what we did is we went ahead and we painted all of those doors white. Obviously, you can see I haven't arranged my patio furniture and everything out front, but we only moved in 3 days ago, so give me a break, guys. Come on. But what it did is it really brightened up that room, and we cleared out all those plants. And this is just something to think about when you're coming into a property. It doesn't always have to be painting the whole wall. You could just paint your trim and make a huge difference in a room. To paint the trim, it cost us about $1,800 throughout the entire house. This is a pretty large house, about 3,000 square feet. Tons of windows and doors, but it's night and day when you look at the house. You folks that are in here right now, you can see that the white trim in here looks really beautiful. So that's something that we've gone to in pretty much all of our properties, is the two-tone paint concept. You choose a neutral color for the wall, and then you do a white for the baseboards. I also highly recommend a semi-gloss for your baseboards and all of the door trim doors, because that's a lot easier to clean. And then you can do a satin or an eggshell on the walls. Another thing that makes a big difference, they're just missing the new photo on the webinar. It's not showing. Not seeing the photo. I'm going to show the photo. Sorry, not very good at the technicality here yet.
Since us three latecomers came in, could you just introduce yourself again?
Sure. My name's Jake. This is Eric. We have a company called Master Vacation Rentals. Basically, our goal is to help everyone understand better how to run an Airbnb. This is the third webinar / meetup that we've done. We are simultaneously on the web and here with you. So kind of exciting. I am trying to figure out how to show this photo to these folks.
You local?
Yes, we are from Denver.
Oh.
Not local, but pretty local.
I was going to ask what you knew about the El Paso 29% tax.
I honestly don't know anything about the El Paso 29% tax. I'm going to stop you though,
That's fine.
just because we want to try and get through our content. It's about an hour long. At the end, we're going to all hang out. You can ask me any questions you want. We're going to also look at the 2 units that they have here, take a look at everything. So we'd love to chat with you afterwards. Yeah. If you have any questions specifically about what we're looking at, I'm all ears.
You share your screen?
Yes, I think the screen is unfortunately set somehow to not that. I apologize to everyone out in the webinar. I will send you an email with that photo. We'll get you squared away here. Actually, video settings. No, sorry, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I apologize. We will get better at this, I promise. So another item that you can do is blinds. So you can see in this room as well, there's dark wood blinds. Now, if you're in the mountains and you're going for that knotty pine look, obviously a dark wood blind could make sense. What we feel like is, in general, dark wood is going to, again, make that room look darker. We want to brighten that room up. So we are changing everything to solar roller shades in that room. And then we're going to do white faux wood blinds throughout the rest of the windows. This is kind of a concept that we've been working on for quite a while. It started with plantation shutters at the 1950s hotel I ran about 15 years ago. And people absolutely love them because they keep the room bright, but at night you can close the blinds and enjoy your darkness that you want. What we are trying to do is also give you cost-effective solutions. Faux wood blinds, in my opinion, are the best looking cost-effective solution you can buy. In general, depending on the size of your window, if you go to Home Depot, you can get a very nice set of blinds for about $50 a window. Obviously, if you have a really huge window, it's probably going to cost you more than that. A little hack on that I like to do, they have 2 different kinds of faux wood blinds. One is set to the exact length that you want it to be. They're all cut to width, but some of them are 12-inch increments on the length. You can save yourself about $20 to $30 a blind by going to the closest 12-inch increment. What I recommend is going 12 inches longer. Obviously, you want to be able to block the entire window, but you will never notice that it's 12 inches longer. It's just going to sit in your sill, and you have a couple extra slats there. It's no big deal, and you save yourself a lot of money when you're furnishing a whole house. If you have 20 windows, that could be $400 or $500 real easily. Flooring, we have now gone mostly to a luxury vinyl plank flooring. The reason for that is we allow pets at our properties, and the luxury vinyl plank is nearly indestructible. Most people cannot tell the difference between a wood floor and a luxury vinyl plank these days. If you're thinking rolled vinyl, it's totally different now. It's a beautiful product. They average about $3 a square foot, and it's a click together product. So if you want to do the installation yourself, watching a few YouTube videos and renting a saw for a day, you could probably do a pretty good size space yourself. That being said, if you want to hire someone out, you're not hiring someone who's extremely skilled labor. You can hire a handyman. You can hire someone who's a little less expensive to do your flooring.
Those are the ones that are self-contained, right? So that even if one were to get compromised, you're not.
You can, yeah,
the whole floor.
Yep.
Just replace the wall.
Yep. You can replace one at a time. It's not a big deal. They're floating floors in general. You can glue them down, but they are floating floors for the most part. So they basically just click together. Pretty easy to pop in and out. Updating a bathroom is a little bit of a bigger project, but think about things that can go a long way. Installing a new vanity, for example, can really update the look of your bathroom without doing any demo or any big work. Same thing goes for a mirror. If you have a toilet that's like a green color from the 1950s or a 50s pink, unless you're a 50s themed property, that probably doesn't fit. Now, like I said, I ran a 1950s theme hotel. So in that case, it was perfect to have those green and pink. But know your clients. So in general, I'd say in Colorado Springs and in Denver, up in the mountains in this area, people would probably look at you a little weird if you said you had a pink toilet. So you can retile, you can place a new tub. I'm not going to talk about those extensive remodels. Obviously, that's a situation where you either need to know what you're doing or you need to hire someone who knows what they're doing. But just know there are some great resources out there for contractors. If you haven't been active doing renovations recently, I highly recommend you check out homeadvisor.com. It's something that you basically can enter in exactly what you want done. You choose a few items about the project, and from there, you get a list of people in that area that are qualified to do that work. Sometimes you can get an appointment set right then and there. You can have someone call you that day. I have found their company to be extremely responsive and very easy to work with. So it is a reviews-based program. So obviously, if people do a bad job, they get bad reviews and you won't use them. But I have found most contractors on there to be pretty reliable.
Question on the replacing you were going to do the floor.
Yep.
I have a bathroom right now that the floor's in good shape. It's this old square tiles. Because the planks are floating and you just put them on top.
Yes, so the question was, with the luxury vinyl plank flooring, can you go on top of an older linoleum product? She says that her linoleum is in good shape, so it's not cracking, it's not splitting, it's not pushing up. Yes, this is definitely made to go over other floors. I will caution you with, if that deteriorates at any time, you're going to be redoing the floor. If it was me, I would probably try to get the linoleum up, get to a nice flat layer. If you're talking about a bathroom, most of our bathrooms are 10 feet by 5 feet, 10 feet by 8 feet, something like that. So even if you had to rip up the whole subfloor and put a new subfloor down, you're only talking about a couple sheets of plywood. So basically you can take the whole thing up, screw 2 new sheets of plywood down, and then you have that nice surface to start over. So it's a little more work, but I do think it's worthwhile to spend that extra time. Updating a kitchen is the last one I'll talk about. Updating a kitchen, same kind of things that we're talking about with a bathroom. Are there things you can do without replacing the whole kitchen? Maybe your cabinets are in good shape, but they need some paint. Painting cabinets is something that's very popular. It makes a huge difference. Adding some different hardware to the cabinets. Make sure that it goes with the rest of your decor. If you went with that stainless steel appliances, maybe you get something that matches that. There's a lot of items like that that can make a huge difference. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is you can pull off an old countertop and replace it with granite or quartz very easily. So if you're hiring a company to put some granite or quartz out there for probably $50, they'll take off your old linoleum, something like that, and throw it in the dump for you. So not linoleum, sorry, laminate countertop. But there's a lot of little things like that that can go a long way. So if you bought new appliances, threw a new countertop on, put some paint on your cabinets and some new hardware, probably for under $5,000 a kitchen, you're going to have a completely different look. And they do sell cabinet paint now at Home Depot. It's something you can do yourself. I personally, painting in general, I recommend getting a contractor just because the labor involved is usually fairly cheap. I'm not saying go out and get the big company in town because they may be more expensive, but hire a handyman, something like that, pay him $20, $25 an hour. Most people are pretty competent at painting a room if they're at all involved in the construction process. All right. from there.
Do you have any recommendations on cabinets need to be replaced?
When cabinets need to be?
If they need to be replaced, do you have a go-to area?
The most recent cabinet company that I used is called J&K Cabinetry. They're out of Denver. They have their warehouse up there. I did 3 kitchens up in Steamboat. Was under $8,000 for 3 kitchens, assembled cabinets delivered to Steamboat. So if you are on the fence about, do I need to replace my cabinets, it may be cheaper than you expect. I think Home Depot does a decent job also. They have a number of different lines. So if you're unsure of, I'm not sure what I want, go in and get a free design done up for you. They'll sit down with you, draw everything out for you. And then if you end up buying it somewhere else, that's part of their service. But I think their prices can be competitive. For me, going to Steamboat, that was not competitive because they weren't going to deliver it for me. Yes.
Just by way of like a rental, if you have to replace cabinets, you don't have to replace all of them. You can do some open shelving because again, in the same storage space you have in your own house.
That's a
lot cheaper.
Great point. So the point that was made was if you have some cabinetry that you don't want to replace, or maybe you need to get rid of a couple cabinets, you could do some open shelving because you don't need as much cabinet space in an Airbnb as you would at your regular kitchen. Obviously, all that pantry storage, the fine china, all of those sorts of things, you probably don't need to supply that at your Airbnb. So it's a really great point. And I think the open shelving can look really nice as well. If you stack your plates, your bowls, your cups nicely, it can look very artistic. So just ask Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Pretty quick question.
Sorry, quick question.
Quick question from online. Who do you like for kitchen counters?
I'm not going to recommend a specific company for kitchen counters. I have not had a perfect experience on kitchen counters yet. I've done 6 kitchens and none of them were perfect. So that being said, I'm very particular. So I shop for the best price and then I expect the best service. It's hard to get the best price and the best service all in one. In general, I've been very happy. A lot of people are debating whether to do granite versus quartz. Quartz tends to be, depending on the size of your kitchen, it can be $1,000 to $3,000 more expensive for a similar looking product. I did 2 kitchens recently in quartz and 3 kitchens recently in granite. I don't think anyone has any idea who's staying there. The only big difference you need to be aware of with granite is that you have to seal it every 6 months. It's really not a big deal if you have a maintenance guy or you yourself are on the property. It's pretty easy. You buy some spray, 5 minutes later, you wipe it off, you're done for the next 6 months. So in my opinion, I think I'm probably more or less going with granite just because it saves a lot of money. Did you have one more question? Okay. So we're going to move to our room by room initial setup. So we talked a little bit about this, but choosing a color palette is really important. So I highly recommend sticking with either a brown or a gray variation. One thing to be really aware of is that colors look a lot darker when you put them on the wall than when you're looking at them in the store. So before you paint your entire place, do a couple sample swatches. I know it sucks. You say, oh, I got to drive back to the store and buy more paint. Totally worth it instead of having to redo it in 6 months when you realize you did the wrong color. So my favorite right now is a light gray with a white baseboard and trim. I think it looks really classy. Again, goes really well with the stainless steel. What we've been going with for our countertops is more of a brown countertop. I'll show you one of our recently finished products here. So you can see we went with a gray cabinet in this property. That's the luxury vinyl plank flooring. Looks just like wood. You wouldn't have any idea. This was a low grade triplex rental. Before we bought the property, we spent quite a bit of money upgrading this property, but we didn't do anything over the top. It's, basic, nice looking cabinets. We went with the black because we thought that looked kind of classy for our hardware. But you can see that the color palette there is pretty basic. It's almost like a gray brown color. It allows us to use wood products and that gray palette kind of at the same time. Obviously when we're talking about colors, you want to coordinate your colors. So what we've done in each of our units is instead of saying, I'm going to just put whatever decorations I want in here, is we pick a certain color that's our pop of color for that unit. So this unit, you can see our pop of color is blue. So our shower curtain is blue. You saw that on the bed, we had some blue. And then we have little pops of other colors throughout, but in general, you're going to see that blue color palette throughout. What that does is it allows us easy replacement if anything goes wrong. If my cleaner goes in and they say, hey, I'm in 2642, the blanket's ruined. It's really easy for me to grab another blue blanket. If I can't remember what 6 colors I had in that unit, it makes it a lot more difficult. It's kind of a fun way to get to play with color, especially if you have multiple units. It is something that allows you, we did this based on the seasons. So we have a blue, we had a yellow, and we had a red. Red was for summer, yellow was for fall, and blue was our winter scenes. So we coordinated that with the artwork on the wall as well. Just kind of a fun way to play with it. When people are looking at your listing, you can say, this is our summer theme, property. So kind of fun. Anyways, all the things on the wall for the most part were bought either on Amazon or from American Furniture Warehouse. They have a surprisingly large selection of really nice print photography that isn't going to cost you a ton of money. I think they call it their Western collection or Western artist collection. And it's all local people who have taken beautiful photos, and obviously they're getting a little cut of that, which is nice. You feel like you're supporting local artists even when you're shopping at the big box store and getting that deal. So anyways, that's one of our properties. We are still in the process of getting our exterior redone, but inside is looking really good now. All right. Another thing to think about, setup takes time. So I know the first property that I renovated, I thought, well, everything's going to arrive 2 days. I'm going to have everything hung up and everything's going to be perfect. Laundry will be done and it'll be ready to rent. And about 3 weeks later, on my 4th trip back up to Steamboat, I was saying, man, 2 days was nowhere near what this was going to take. So make sure that as you're getting set up with your properties, you give yourself plenty of time. Don't put yourself against a wall that you can't meet, because the worst thing is to cancel your first reservation that you get on Airbnb. So just make sure you're ready. We had a little bit of a sigh earlier when we talked about going to Goodwill and purchasing furniture. I love Craigslist. I love Facebook Marketplace. I love Goodwill. The unfortunate thing is time is money in Airbnb. So if you have a 500 square foot place and you have a couple of months, you're getting ready, you know what you need, it's great to find the right pieces. If you're trying to furnish a larger property or you have multiple properties, it really doesn't make sense to try and shop that way. I tried to do it with one of my first ones. I rented a U-Haul, bought stuff down in Denver, brought it up to Steamboat. it was a disaster. It definitely cost me as much money in my time as I saved in the products that I got, and they were used products. The nice thing about buying something new is it's new. A lot of times it comes with a warranty. You know, for a certain amount of time, you don't have to worry about it. That's not to say that all new products are great. They're definitely not. So one of the things that we're going to highlight as we go through this is the products that we've found that are, one, easy to put together, and two, are durable and will last and look good, obviously. So think about that value proposition when you're thinking about your products. Make sure that you value your time as well, because that's one of those things. That first property, I bought a lot of IKEA furniture. IKEA makes a pretty nice product. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you're looking for something economical, they make a pretty nice product. However, a nightstand is going to take you 3 hours to put together. What? Yeah, well, someone has to put it together. And
I can do it in 20.
oh, she can do it in 20. Okay. Maybe you got the less complicated nightstand.
She's offered it up.
Yeah. So if you want to go into the business of putting together my IKEA furniture, I will hire you.
No idea how this is subject.
Yeah.
So what I would say about IKEA though,
Yep.
is this goes for military people. It doesn't move well. So if you're going to get a piece of IKEA furniture, you make sure that it's going to stay in that Airbnb. It's not going to be moved around because they're not portable really well.
That's a great point.
Cabinets are good.
Yes.
Cabinets are excellent.
Again, though, take a really long time to set up. Kitchen cabinets? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. You can come build my next kitchen for me. I would love it. We have someone here that's saying that IKEA furniture does not move well. So it is something to think about. If you're not sure if you're going to stick with this Airbnb thing, maybe you're going to move the furniture somewhere else, IKEA may not be the best option, because every time you take it apart and put it back together, those little holes get a little bigger, the screws don't fit quite as well, things don't match up the way they're supposed to. But we do have a volunteer here. Anyone who wants IKEA furniture built, everything can be done in 20 minutes or less. All right. I'm going to pass this on. Is this me? This is me. Sorry. One more frame. I'm doing bedrooms. So bed frames. I'm going to show you a couple of bed frames that we have found. All of these are from a company called Zinus, if I can get there. Zinus is available for sale on Amazon. They also have their own website. I have found Amazon to be really great because you still get their nice 2-day shipping. It arrives, and if there are any problems with it, you still can call Amazon's customer service and get things taken care of. They have a whole bunch of different options. These really do go together in 20 minutes. I have had great success with them. And they actually come with really good instructions, which I don't feel like IKEA does a great job with. These are really nice pieces of furniture. It's pretty funny. My wife and I obviously just moved to a new house. We've been trying to decide which, do we want to buy a really nice bed? This is going to be our house for the next 15 years. Are we going to go buy a nice bed? And we kept looking at stuff online, and we said, oh, that's really nice from West Elm. That's really nice from Crate and Barrel. And I kept coming back to, geez, that looks almost exactly like that Zinus piece of furniture that I bought up in Steamboat. And the Zinus piece of furniture is $250, and that Crate and Barrel is over $1,000. So I love this company. Again, very easy to assemble. You don't need a box spring for this bed. So we use all of our mattresses just straight on top of these wooden slats. So you save yourself another $100 by not having to go buy that box spring. And in general, I feel like box springs never look great after you buy them, first 6 months, and then people rub on them and they start, things just don't look as good. So anyways, there's a whole bunch of these on our website. Those of you that are here in person, we can send you the links that are attached to this sheet that you're looking at so that you can click directly to these options. But those of you online, you already have that sheet sent to you. This is my favorite of the Zinus beds so far. I think it looks really classy. It is real wood that they use in these products, which is rare these days, but it goes together really nice. It's also pretty minimal as far as dimensions for your room. So if you have a smaller room size, these beds fit in that space pretty well. There's a whole bunch of great mattresses out there these days. We have our favorite one listed on our website. I'm not going to go through every single item of every room because it'll be redundant. What we have found is that the bed in the box, we really have gotten great reviews. I'd say probably once a week, if not more often, I get a question, what kind of bed is this? And I reluctantly have to tell them it was the $350 bed on Amazon that was delivered directly to my property. I personally like the one with the cooling gel because I sleep hot, but you'll want to appeal to as wide a range of people as possible. With the memory foam gel mattresses, you do want to think about if you have taller or very overweight guests, sometimes they feel like they are falling into the mattress. They don't feel as supported. I've had one person that was actually a little uncomfortable in the year and a half that we've had our beds on. So probably about 500 stays that we've had so far. So I'll take that any day. If you put a mattress on a bed and you don't get one complaint, tell me about it, because that's a mattress I want to check out.
What do you typically look for as a general public? Offering firm, soft, what's your range? Because I always wonder which is the best one to go to. What do people like the most in general?
So the question is whether you go with a firm mattress, a soft mattress, what would be the best option for people? I'd say in general, trying to stick towards that medium range is the best. I will say that the memory foam mattresses, on top of a slat bed like this, you get kind of the softness of the memory foam, but you get the support because you have wood slats under you. So I kind of feel like you get the best of both worlds as much as possible. If someone loves a really soft bed or they love a really firm bed, no matter what bed you get, they're probably not going to love it. Yeah. I really, very rarely do we get any complaints on I'm uncomfortable while I sleep. So just something to think about. Nightstands, we have some nightstands on here from Zinus. They're very simple. They go together in about 3 minutes. It's screwing together 4 screws and then you're done. So I love the simplicity. You can actually see it in this picture. They have one on the nightstand there. It's very minimal. If you want drawers or you want something like that, this is not the one for you. For those, I am still buying IKEA, but I do feel like they take a long time to put together. Lamps with or without charging plugs. So one thing to think about when you're putting your bedroom together is everybody has a device now. So you don't want to look at your room and say, I have one plug over there on the opposite wall, because how is the person on this side of the bed going to get to that plug over there? So one thing that we've started doing is buying lamps with plugs in them. You can also do this with your clock radio. They have a lot of clock radios with a plug or two in the back, but it's probably one of the most underrated things that you won't get a complaint about, but it'll irk people when they go in, because it irks me when I go into an Airbnb if I have to set my phone over on the other side of the room to go to bed. Alarm clock and speaker, basically at this point, you don't need anything fancy. You need something that tells time. Most people aren't even using that because they have their phone right next to them. It is nice if you have a Bluetooth connection to that speaker so that if someone wants to play a little music in their room, but I don't think that's 100% necessary by any means. Dresser, we are still using the Hemnes IKEA dresser. We use the 3-drawer because I have to screw together less drawers. They do make a 6-drawer and an 8-drawer. Personally, for me, a 3-drawer is pretty good for a 3 to 5 night stay. So if you're looking for, again, that is a solid wood product. One thing to look at when you are looking at these products is what is the material I'm getting? If you're getting, something that was pressed together, it may not last as long. So the Hemnes is one of those that I have found actually moves reasonably well because it is solid wood.
Quick question from online. Thoughts on how often mattresses are going to need to get replaced?
So the question is, how often should mattresses get replaced? It really depends on the mattress you buy. If you go to some of these fancy mattress stores, some of them will offer you a 25 or 30-year warranty on your mattress. Personally, I don't know that I want to sleep on a mattress that's 30 years old, even if there is a warranty on it, because most of us have heard the quotes about your mattress doubles in weight every 8 years and things like that. I don't want to think about the stuff that's in that mattress. That being said, put a mattress pad on your mattress, make sure that it is waterproof, but also breathable. Personally, I think I'm going to get 10 plus years probably out of the beds that I have. Everything that I have bought recently has at least a 10-year warranty. Mattresses have a certification from CertiPure. That's kind of the standard these days. It means that it's been inspected. It doesn't have any harmful chemicals or anything like that. Most of these bed in the box that you can buy on Amazon for extremely cheap still have the CertiPure label on them. So for me, I'd rather spend that $350 as opposed to the $3,000 at the fancy furniture store. I'll take the 10 years versus the 25 or 30. So hope that answers the question. The other things to think about in your room, if you do go with a solid floor, whether it's wood or a luxury vinyl plank or something like that, it's really nice to have a rug under the bed. That way when people get out of bed, they have something soft to put their feet on. They don't go straight to that cold floor. You can buy these in a lot of different places. We've had a lot of luck actually with a product on Costco. It's called the Torino, and it's about 5 or 6 different designs. They go on sale for a 8x10, about $120. IKEA makes some nice ones. Depends a lot on the size of your room. If you can get away with a 5x7, there's a lot of options out there. If you're going to an 8x10 or something larger than that, your options are a little less and they get significantly more expensive. Make sure you also have a mirror in your room, hangers, luggage rack, and iron and ironing board. You don't have to have an iron and ironing board in every single room, but have at least one in your property. If you have a 3-bedroom, you only need one probably. This day and age.
The rugs at IKEA, the rugs at Costco are actually on sale right now.
They are, correct.
Pro tip.
Yep, pro tip. Torino rugs on Costco, on sale now. If you go into store, even cheaper. All right, pass on.
All right, moving on to the kitchen. So this is one of those things that really sets apart a vacation rental from a traditional hotel room. Is very rarely do you have a hotel room where you can prepare a meal, and if you do, you generally have very, very minimal options on what to use. So especially if somebody's staying for more than a couple days, having the ability to prepare a meal and having kitchen stocked properly can make a huge difference in the guest experience. So this is one of those places where it's easy to miss key items and have a guest, especially starting out, not have the best experience or have to run to the store to go buy coffee filters. So important to get all these things dialed in up front. We have a pretty extensive list here on the website. We'll start with the sort of small kitchen appliances. So aside from if you have a built-in microwave, oven, and stovetop, the oven is less of an essential if you have a small sort of kitchenette unit, but making sure that you do have a hot, either if you don't have a stove top, to have a hot plate or something that people can use for meal prep is really important. Also have a fridge. Again, if it's a kitchenette style, it's a small fridge is fine, but you need to have something for people to keep food cold. Coffee maker is probably the number one amenity in terms of kitchen appliances people have to have. Toaster, we like having something that looks a little better than your $15 one from Target. Having a blender is super nice, and electric kettle is a big one for people who are looking to do non-coffee beverages, do tea, hot chocolate, something like that. And then the bean grinder to make sure you're able to prep that appropriately. Something to think about too with the kitchen is the seating capacity of your kitchen and compared to what does your property sleep in terms of people. So do you have the ability for people to have breakfast together, eat a meal together, or do you have to have people in the living room and people in the dining room or kitchen area? So just something to consider when you're providing seating and tables is, can people use the space effectively with the amount of people that your property can sleep? Looking at some of the other basics to have, making sure you've got a good cookware set, not just having one or two pots and pans. I've stayed at places where they have one pan and one pot, and you're going, this is going to be a pain. I really don't want to have to deal with this washing stuff mid-meal. So that's a must-have. Baking sheets, cutting boards. These are those things that not every guest is going to use, but the ones who are going to reach for them are going to be really happy that you have them, and it's worth the $20.
And then the ones that are going to do reviews.
Yeah, those are the ones who are going to be super nitpicky, and I would say the same thing if I'm a guest. So again, just thinking ahead of what your guests might use and making sure that you've already thought of it. Little things, again, we have a kit here that has your cheese grater, can opener, spatula, whisk, all the stuff that if somebody's cooking, they're going to want to have. And another thing that we'll touch on sort of at the end is the consumables, sort of like on your oils, cooking, oils, teas, coffees, that kind of stuff we'll touch on here at the end of this segment a little bit more in depth. Any questions on kitchen stuff? Pretty straightforward.
We have a question from the audience here that says, is drip coffee okay, or do people expect a Keurig?
That's a great question. Honestly, the drip coffee is totally fine. That's what we have in our units. A couple reasons. Keurigs do create a lot of waste, and sort of whether that's something you're concerned about or not is up to you, but that's something we like to avoid. And honestly, you have the ability to make very fresh coffee with the bean grinder and providing whole beans. So I personally think that's a better guest experience, and something that if somebody who has that morning ritual, they're still able to perform that when they're staying at your place. So great question.
One of the things I did was I coordinated with a local coffee vendor.
Oh, very nice.
A little tiny, like a 1 pound bag of beans.
Yeah.
And I put it as a gift to the people.
Perfect.
And I had a little coupon for them to go to the coffee store, and that way they had fresh beans and they loved it.
Yeah, that's great. So, someone here in person was talking about how they partnered with a local coffee company to provide a custom small gift size coffee for guests that are coming in. And that's a great way to connect with the guests, start their stay off on the right foot. And that's something we recommend. We do a bottle of wine with each guest that comes in. And it's just a really nice little touch that people love and makes your place stand out that much more. So great point. Moving on to the living room. And I guess while we're wrapping up the kitchen stuff, making sure you have enough plates, bowls, mugs, cups. We recommend, at least having two water glasses per person that your property sleeps. One mug, one wine glass, and then having some extra handy so that when they inevitably do break, you can just throw another one in there. We get a lot of that stuff from IKEA. looks good. It's you know, pretty durable, and it's cheap to replace when you need to. So we've been a big fan of IKEA. Same with for the flatware, and we also do have some steak knives as well that we include. One overlooked thing often in kitchens is like Pyrex or storage, like Tupperware containers. If people are using a place to make food, can they store it after they made it, or are they having to do a weird stack with a plate and a bowl and trying to make a seal? It's $25, and again, goes a long way.
We have a big IKEA fan here. I don't know.
I like it. I like it. So talking about the living room, as we mentioned earlier, you know, the living room is somewhere where guests are probably going to spend the most amount of their time when they're in the property. It's a community gathering space, especially if you have a larger property that maybe, you know, you have accommodate 8 or 10 people. That's something where you really want to have a good modern TV setup, not using your 10-year-old big box and thinking that you're being clever, saving a few bucks. The big TVs are really cheap these days. And you can connect them up with a Roku or similar, you know, Amazon Fire, a TV stick. Enables you to access online subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Go, so that people can bring their entertainment with them. We also utilize what's called YouTube TV, which is a pretty affordable subscription service that enables access to a lot of TV content, and you can use it on multiple devices, which is super nice. So through multiple units if you have them.
Not tech savvy. So you're telling me that I have Roku, I can go to your place that has Roku and pull up my channels?
No.
Not quite. With Roku basically enables you access to all the online streaming providers. So do you have a Netflix or an Amazon Prime membership? So you could log in at our unit up in Steamboat. Correct. Yes. You can log in.
I have subscriptions. I go to your place. I can log in to my account.
Not to your Roku account. You would log in to your Netflix.
Correct.
To my Amazon, to
Correct.
my Fox, whatever.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Those actual ones.
Yep.
Yeah. So the question was, you know, if from someone who's not as tech savvy, that they can go with their Netflix account and come to our property and watch their shows and log into their account. The answer is yes, you can. And that's a great benefit of having, you know, smart TV or this, the Roku type technology.
You also provide cable or disc?
So we do not provide cable at our properties. What we do instead is this, what I mentioned, the YouTube TV.
That's why I'm asking.
Correct, because it's a much more affordable option. Cable's super expensive, and honestly, you can get the same, very similar content for a lot less money. So that's something we've moved. You know, we don't offer cable. And have you heard any negative feedback on that?
It works just like cable basically these days. It's you know, you click, instead of just clicking your up button on your channel, you have to go to your YouTube TV to log in. But essentially, it works exactly the same.
Yeah, so that's something that's been a huge boon for operators of vacation rentals.
HD antennas work pretty well too with being reception.
Okay, yeah, I haven't.
It's HD antenna one time set up.
Nice. Someone here in person mentioned that an HD antenna, if you have signal, can be a good option as well for that. So, again, just thinking about what you would want if you're going to stay at somebody's place, having a blanket that you can snuggle up on the couch if it's crappy weather outside, having a coffee table and comfy sofas and couches is, again, really important. American Furniture Warehouse, we've had really good luck with finding some good value items on there. And really just, you know, if you have, like, for example, our properties are in the mountains, so we have sort of the fireplace and is part of that living area. Just give it a good feel and make sure that, again, you have seating enough for people that your property can sleep. So if everyone's trying to spend time together, you don't have to have people sitting in the kitchen and being left out.
You didn't mention internet tickets and cable.
That is a great point. The question about internet, yes, Wi-Fi is a must-have. If you don't offer it at your property, you're going to lose out on a lot of potential guests. So I know it can be challenging in some more remote areas to get it, or it's more expensive. It is worth getting that in place because people can search with required amenities and click Wi-Fi, and you won't show up in the search results. So absolutely, and pony up for the good Wi-Fi. A lot of people these days everyone has their own device, and they're spending a lot of time. So definitely worth.
There's a quick question that came in. What's your favorite pet-friendly couch, rugs, etc.? So I'm gonna field that one. I think the best pet-friendly options for couches are either a microfiber or a faux suede kind of a product. We've had really good luck with Ashley Furniture. I think it's their signature collection. It's about $300 for a couch and $200-ish for a love seat. We do have it on the website. We've bought it both from Amazon and from American Furniture Warehouse. Amazon doesn't deliver some of those larger products to Steamboat, or they will deliver them from a different seller for $600 or $700 as opposed to $300. So be aware when you're looking at those things. Sometimes it is better to go into a larger furniture store. We're in Denver, Colorado Springs area. American Furniture Warehouse is a really big company here. They do deliver throughout the United States. We do have some people logged on from different areas, but we have found that having them deliver up to Steamboat is extremely affordable for all those larger items, and they actually move them into your house and set them up for you. So kind of nice to not have to worry about one thing while you're moving in.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on to bathroom essentials. We'll keep it quick because I know we're running a little bit over on time here. Making sure that you've got a clean bathroom is super important. So making sure that if you have sort of a funky old toilet, like we talked about earlier, it's worth the money to get that replaced. Making sure you've got shower curtain properly set up, hair dryer. Jake will touch on a little bit, how we do our soaps and shampoos in the bathroom to be economical and a little more environmentally friendly on that front. But again, just imagine yourself as being the guest. What do you need to have in the bathroom? So making sure you've got a mirror and you've got proper mounting for all your towels, so that you can have that out and easily accessible for guests.
All right, one more switch. All right, so we're going to go through a little bit of the details about towels, linens, and soaps. We have found that having nice towels, nice linens, and nice soaps are among the most important things you can do on your property. We've been buying towels from Costco, their Charisma line, for a long, long time. Amazingly, they seem to last, 3-4 years, even in a hotel setting, which is what I used to run. We tried a lot of the bigger brands, and just didn't seem to find that they were both soft and durable. You can get one or the other from the bigger brands, but for some reason, that seems to be the best one we found. Charisma. Yep. They're about $7 a towel, and I think $7 for 2 hand towels and 2 washcloths, something like that. They do go on sale from time to time as well. You can save an extra couple dollars off. We've also started working a little bit with Gilchrist and Soames. If you have a really large property where you need, I'm trying to think, the minimum case size for washcloths, I think, is 12 dozen. So you need a pretty large property to be able to make it work for you. Towels, you can buy a dozen or 2 dozen at a time. But we have found, even though we have 5 units, it's still too much for us. But we found their products to be pretty nice. So if you do have a really large property, definitely check out Gilchrist and Soames. We do use Gilchrist and Soames for all of our soaps. We use a product called Be Kind. It's an eco-friendly product, and it comes in gallon jugs. They also sell dispensers and wall mounts. So we're able to mount these soaps on the walls. when we initially started using Gilchrist and Soames about 15 years ago, they didn't have the wall mounts. And when you're in the bath or you're in the shower and you try and pick up your soap dispenser, inevitably they slip, and we ended up wasting a whole bunch of soap because they would break. So the wall mounts are a huge deal. I highly recommend, if you're going to go with a reuse or with a product like that where you're going to refill it, that you use a mount, because otherwise you will end up losing a lot of product that way. Yeah.
How many towels per person do you recommend in washcloths?
So we set out in the room 1 towel for each guest, and then we try and have an extra at least half the number of guests throughout the property. So you might have them in the closet or something like that. If you're in an area where people like to go swimming or out to a hot spring or something like that, I also highly recommend you provide pool towels, because when they go in the chlorine, sometimes that can stain your nice white towels. That is something we can talk about, white versus colored towels. I have always done white. They're easy to bleach. I think you get the best longevity out of your product that way. Since we allow pets at our property, we also have brown towels. So we call them pet towels. And so we leave 1 or 2 of those towels in a trash can by the door with pet bags. So if you are going to allow pets on your property, I highly recommend you make it as easy as possible for them to not ruin your white towels. Let's see. So the soaps we were talking about, the mounts are super important, refillable. They're definitely way less expensive than buying individual soap products. What we like to do is a conditioning shampoo in the shower, as well as a body wash. So there's 2 soap products in the shower. And then we have 2 products out by the sink, a hand lotion and a hand soap. We've found that in general, people are pretty happy with that. Every now and then you will get someone that says, I wish you had shampoo and conditioner separately. If that's important to you, if you cater to a higher end client, that may be worth doing. We in general are catering to not a super high end client. We want them to enjoy their stay, but if it's that important to you, you probably bring your own conditioner or shampoo, would be my guess. Linens, this was actually brought up on our meetup group earlier in the week. They were asking, how do you deal with duvet covers? Duvet covers are traditionally not washed between stays, and a lot of people find that disgusting. And a lot of people will actually find things on their duvet covers like spots of blood or, pieces of food or whatever, because they were never washed. So our answer to that, and something that we've been doing since I ran the hotel, is called triple sheeting. So what it is you do a fitted sheet over your mattress, then you do a flat sheet. We do those 2 sheets in white. That way we can bleach them and we can keep them looking nice. Then you have your comforter, and then you do another flat sheet over the top of that. And you basically fold the 2 sheets over the comforter. That way you have a sanitary surface, but everything gets pulled off the bed every time and it gets washed. What we like to do is we use a accent color as that top sheet. So as you saw in the pictures of our condos, we had gray on some of the beds. We have browns on some of the beds. We do a dark blue on some of the beds. So it allows us a little bit of color variation. We do the same thing with the pillows. So we have 4 pillows on every bed, 2 king size and 2 queen size. Regardless of whether it is a king or a queen size bed, it always has 2 kings in the back. That's the accent color. And then you have 2 queens in the front. That's your white color. So most people sleep on the white, and then you just have that accent in the back. But it's kind of a nice way to give a more luxurious look to your bed without having to buy a whole bunch of throw pillows and things like that. Yes?
You have a cleaning company that comes in and switches these out, correct?
Yes, we have a cleaning
They
company.
clean on the premise, or do they, or your linens set out
So the question was, we have a cleaning company that cleans. Do they clean the linens on premises, or do they take them out with them? We do have a laundry room on site of one of our properties. Most of the time, even though they have the ability to wash there, they don't. It's easier for them to do large batches, take it to the laundromat. So for the most part, that's what my cleaners do. It depends on how big your unit is and how many linens they have to wash and how many different colors. So as you're thinking about your colors, also think about your cleaners. If you have white sheets and then you have pink as your top sheet, and then you have pool towels that are dark blue, and you don't want to combine all these things in a single load. So just remember to make things simple for your cleaners as much as possible. They will appreciate it. Another thing that we want to go over is the company that we use for our sheets. It's called Comfy Company. They started out only supplying to lodging properties. It's a pretty cool product. I've been using them for about 15 years. In general, in the hotel industry, even though we were washing the sheets all the time, we were getting 3+ years out of them. They are a little more expensive, but they feel amazing, and we get compliments nonstop. The other thing that's pretty cool is they have a retail program. So if you have a way to sell the sheets to your guests, it's something that will pay for your sheets oftentimes fairly quickly. So just something to think about. It's spelled COMPHY. We do have the link in our list here. So if you want to take a look at that, they are a great company to work with. I've been dealing with Pamela there for about 15 years, and we do also have a link directly to her email on our website. Comfy Company. Yep. If you click on the link on our website, it'll populate an email with, this is generally what we recommend. So you kind of get a form email to Pam saying, hey, I'm with Jake. We want to kind of work with the program he's going, and then she'll call you, help you pick colors, help you decide on anything else you might have questions on. The last thing we're going to talk about is our consumables checklist. I believe everyone online and in person should have this. So basically, I'm not going to run down every single item on here, but it's really important to provide enough for people to do what they want to do at your property. The way we liked to think about it was, we want someone to be able to come in for 2 or 3 days, cook some basic meals, and not have to worry about going to the store for small consumables like salt, pepper, toilet paper, Kleenex, all those things. The crazy thing is, I still get questions from time to time. Do I have to bring my own toilet paper? Do I have to bring my own Kleenex? Stuff like that. Some things on this that are a little less, maybe not as much something that you would think about, is providing things that make both you and your cleaner's lives easy. So I know one thing that I do when I travel is I always forget to bring a bag to put my dirty clothes in. So if you only have one bag in your trash can and that's it, what are people going to do? They're going to steal the bag from your trash can to put their dirty laundry in it. Hopefully they haven't already put stuff in the trash bag. But it's really nice to make things convenient. How much does a trash bag cost? A couple cents. Have some extra items throughout your property. Coffees, teas, Ziploc bags, that sort of thing. You'll be amazed at the reviews you'll get that say, it was so nice that I didn't have to worry about getting a Ziploc bag for my sandwich when I went to the ski hill, or stuff like that. It's something that you don't necessarily think about. But if you think about, what do you do in your house every day? You use it probably every single day. So things that are worth doing. I also supply laundry detergent, coffee, teas. Make sure you have plenty of coffee filters. I use a product called Mini Moos. They are a product that is stable, does not have to be refrigerated. They last about 6 months, but they are actually half and half. It's ultra pasteurized. That allows people, I put like 10 of them in the fridge. If someone's there for 2 or 3 days and they're gonna make coffee in the morning, they don't have to go buy cream. If someone's there for 2 weeks, I expect them to go to the store, they're gonna buy cream for themselves. So that's the way I like to look at it. 2 or 3 day stays, shouldn't have to go to the store to buy those minor items.
Quick question from online. How many sheet sets for flips to go smoothly?
So minimum of 2, absolutely.
2 per bed.
Yeah. At my properties, I do 2.5. The reason for that is if you have a quick turnaround and then you have a one-night stay and then another quick turnaround, you don't want your cleaners to try and be washing all of those sheets in that one day. Chances are when those things happen, it's a Saturday night, they're cleaning 6 other places, and you don't want them to be worrying about, oh, I forgot to wash the sheets. You know, now it's 4 o'clock and the sheets aren't done. And so I try and make it as easy as possible. That upfront cost of the extra set of sheets will pay you back over and over again, because you won't have that person try to check in and the place not be ready. And then you have to give them a $50 credit, say, I'm sorry. In general, I'd say anything you can do to avoid those problems for your guests. The way I run my business is if something goes wrong, I credit my guests. They shouldn't have to deal with that. So anything I can do to prevent those things saves me money. So, you know, if I forgot to change out the smoke detector alarm batteries and it goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm probably going to credit that guest some money, because I feel like that's not something they should have to deal with. You know, obviously if it's something extenuating out of your circumstances, that, you know, there's a fire in your condo building and the alarms go off, I apologize. The alarms did what they were supposed to do. You know, I'm glad we're all safe. So that's about it for the webinar. Those of you, yep, one more question.
Real quick on the consumables.
Yeah.
How do you have your cleaning crew? Do you keep an extra set of supplies on the site locked up somewhere?
Yes.
Or do you just tell them if they see something that they need to replace to go buy it, or how do you do that?
So good question about the consumables. How do you handle restocking the consumables? Basically, we do have a locked storage area in each of our units. And then we also have some larger storage areas outside of the units. We may be a little different than most people because we have, you know, multiple units all within a close distance to each other. But I would recommend keeping at least one of each of these items on hand. One thing that I love using is Costco's 2-day delivery. They deliver for free for, I'd say, 99% of these consumable items, as long as your order is over $75. So it'll come shipped to you. And so what I do is I have my cleaners I have a stocking list, basically all of these items, and then how much of those I want on site. And if we ever hit below those, I have them checked once a month or so. If we go below those numbers, I just ship it from Costco. It gets there in 2 days and they have everything that they need. The one thing that's hard to ship is wine. So I have made connections with local liquor store that will deliver directly to our property. Also, if you like to do a welcome wine or if you like to do a welcome coffee, I highly recommend trying to make it as easy as possible. A lot of those places are driving by your property every day, every week. See if I pay an extra couple bucks, will you drop it off for me? Because it really saves the hassle of you having to worry about it. Exactly, definitely.
Do you replenish the consumables that are like the oil, the spray oil and the oil? Do you replace that every time?
No. The question was, do we replace the oil and the spray oil every time? We don't replace it every time.
But you check to make sure it doesn't go rancid.
We do, definitely. Everything in there should have an expiration date. It's definitely worthwhile every 6 months or once a year, go through absolutely everything in your pantry and make sure there's nothing there. Guests leave stuff all the time. My philosophy with my cleaners is if we didn't put it there, throw it out or take it home with you. It's a very slippery slope because you say, oh, it's a canned good, it's okay. Oh, it's Cheerios, it's okay. Pretty soon you have an entire cupboard full of stuff. It looks way better when people walk in and they don't deal with anyone else's leftovers. One more question.
Quick question on optimizing pet cleaning.
Optimizing pet cleaning.
Longer term turnovers.
Optimizing pet cleaning is a hard one. Something I have been working on extensively with my cleaners. We go through a lot of lint rollers. There is a really good product out there called a sham roller as well. It works really good to get pet hair off of cushions, that sort of thing. Large clumps works really good. The way I expect my cleaners to clean is that people should not know there was a pet in there, basically. There are times when that doesn't go perfectly. It's really hard, especially if pets have very fine fur or something like that, to get absolutely everything off, every couch, every cushion, everything. But I pay my cleaners very well, and I expect them to get that right. I think holding your cleaners to a really high standard is the best thing you can do. If you start letting things slip from the beginning, it gets very difficult to change later. So anytime I get a complaint from a guest that there's an issue, I immediately call my cleaner and I say, I need you to go over there and I need you to correct it. How many times do you think my cleaner wants to do that when it's now 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, they're at home with their family? They probably are going to do a good job 99.9% of the time. There's always going to be a time where things don't go perfectly. If that's the case, I compensate my guest. I make sure that they're comfortable with the situation, and I make sure that my cleaner understands it can't happen again. That's the best you can do. My general rule of thumb is if you're getting complaints about your cleaning, it's not good enough. If something happens once a month, once every 3 months, on a very rare occasion, I'm talking over our 5 properties, I tolerate that because things happen. You don't want to come down so hard that you make your cleaners hate you, but make them take care of it and make sure that they understand that if it continues to happen, you're not going to be able to use them. Yeah.
So that's the last. Any more questions from online? All right, we have that poll.
Oh yeah.
Quickly, a pet deposit, what do you ask?
I don't ask a pet deposit.
Okay.
I build my pet pricing into my pricing, basically. My listing, the title says pets in it. So 50% or more of the people who stay at my property have pets. So it's built into ours. That being said, I have definitely started to think about charging a nightly fee for pets. I don't feel like pets create any more issues for me than anyone else. They do take longer to clean. There's more, it's more involved, but that's also built into my cleaning fee. They pay a higher cleaning fee. There's a lot of different ways to price. That's a whole nother webinar, but we will go into that. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll here. Those of you that are in-house, go ahead and shout out which of these, can you read that?
I might have to read them out.
Oh, boy.
It's a little hard to read.
You read it for us.
All right. So we're looking for what would you like us to present next? How to choose an Airbnb property. How about everyone raise your hand who's interested in that? All right, we got 3. Best practices for management.
Do you manage your own?
I do manage my own. Yep. Renovating a property. 1. Okay. Should I use a property manager? 1. Deeper dive on using automation software. 3. Okay. Strategies for using Airbnb.
What do you mean strategies? Yeah, can you define that?
Yeah, sorry, that's not as clear as I want it to be. The way I'm thinking about it is, do I rent out my basement? Do I allow someone to rent a room in my house? Do I buy an investment property? Do I do midterm rentals as opposed to short-term rentals? Something along that line. How to dial in your listing. Okay. Guidebook software, a deeper dive. We did a very brief one our last meetup.
Is that a software specifically for management of short-term rentals?
It's a guidebook specifically for short-term rentals. Yes. And then pricing software, deep dive. So we use a pricing program that uses an algorithm to price our properties. And it's definitely pays for itself. Yeah. All right, perfect. And then online, we got 1 for how to choose an Airbnb, 2 for best practices. Oh, still getting more. 1 for deep dive on automation, 1 for strategies on using Airbnb, and 1 on how to dial in your listing. One more item that I'm going to show you real quick on here. I'm going to end this poll. One thing that would really help us, we are new at this business. As of now, it's not really a business, but we think someday maybe this will become a business for us. We'd love it if you would go on to Facebook and rate us, give us a review. We're on there as Master Vacation Rentals, at Master Vacation Rentals. Very easy, facebook.com at Master Vacation Rentals. Right now we have 0 ratings. We would love to see a couple ratings pop up over the next day. We hope to host another webinar next month. So if you have any other suggestions for us, ways that we can integrate this better, feedback on webinar versus in person, anything like that, feel free to shoot us an email, send us a message. We're all ears. This is only our 3rd webinar that we've done, our 3rd meetup group. So we'd love any feedback you have. And those of you who are here in person, we're going to go check out Corner Post Meets New Items.
What are the areas you cover with your services, property management, stuff like that?
So we aren't property managers.
They manage their own.
We manage our own. We do co-host for two people. The difference between property manager is that you are a broker. You're able to handle money for people. A co-host basically helps you with your listing. So we handle all reservations. We do everything for them, but the money never comes into our hands. That being said, we really have taken on management clients kind of on a case-by-case basis. The 2 who approached us happened to have a building about half a mile away from where our current units are. They use the same cleaners that we do. It was very easy for us to take them on. If someone's interested in our services as a co-host, we'd definitely be happy to talk about it. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Both of us have full-time jobs. You know, we have families at home. We're not going to take something on that's going to take us an extra 20 hours a week to manage. So we'd love to talk to you, though, if you're interested in it. if it doesn't work out, we may be able to point you in the direction of someone that could. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and everybody have a great night.